The headlines have begun to shift, and the world is taking notice. In a bold and unprecedented move, the president of Botswana has announced a complete halt to the export of raw minerals. That's right, Botswana will no longer allow its unprocessed natural resources like diamonds and copper to be sent out of the country without first being refined domestically. The announcement sent shockwaves through the global economic system, especially among Western countries that have long relied on cheap raw African minerals to fuel their industries. This decision aligns Botswana with a growing list of African nations that are standing up for economic sovereignty and demanding a bigger share of their natural wealth. At the heart of this movement is a young and revolutionary leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. Since taking power, Traoré has called for a complete overhaul of Africa's role in the global supply chain. He opened Burkina Faso's first gold refinery in 2023 and suspended gold export permits in early 2024 to combat smuggling and foreign control. His message was loud and clear: Africa must stop giving away its riches for free. Now, with Botswana joining the wave, the revolution is no longer a whisper, it's a roar. Botswana's president declared that from now on, all minerals must be processed locally. This includes cutting and polishing diamonds within Botswana and building facilities to handle copper, nickel, and other valuable exports. By doing this, Botswana aims to capture the jobs, profits, and industrial power that have long been siphoned away to Europe, China, and North America. No longer will Africa be just a source of raw materials. It's beginning to demand a place at the table where finished products and wealth are created. Other African countries are joining this new wave of economic nationalism. Gabon, for instance, has announced it will ban the export of raw manganese by 2029. Namibia has already put bans in place for several raw materials. The message is clear. A continent that has been exploited for centuries is finally taking control of its destiny. For decades, Africa has exported raw minerals for pennies and imported finished goods at sky-high prices. That cycle is finally being challenged. This shift has massive implications for the global economy. Western nations, especially those in the European Union and North America, are heavily reliant on African raw materials for electronics, construction, and manufacturing. If more countries follow Botswana's lead, the cost of these materials will rise, and supply chains could be disrupted. Refineries in the West may struggle to operate without cheap raw inputs, forcing them to either invest in Africa or renegotiate their trade terms. However, the road ahead isn't easy. Processing raw minerals requires infrastructure, investment, skilled labor, and time. Many African nations are still developing these capabilities, and there's a risk that foreign corporations might attempt to sabotage or resist this change. Some fear economic retaliation, trade restrictions, or covert efforts to destabilize the region. But despite the challenges, the momentum is undeniable. This new wave of leadership in Africa, from Traoré in Burkina Faso to Botswana's current administration, is putting the people and their future first. They are no longer satisfied with the role of silent suppliers. They want to be builders, manufacturers, and decision-makers. And for the first time in modern history, that dream seems within reach. If this revolution succeeds, it could reshape the world as we know it. Africa could finally rise, not as a source of raw wealth for others, but as a powerhouse that transforms and controls its own resources. Will more countries join? Will the West adapt or resist? The answers are still unfolding, but one thing is certain: Africa is waking up, and the world can no longer ignore it.